The sun was setting behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, but the warmth of the light couldn't reach the little girl huddled on the side of the dusty road. Her knees were scraped, her hair tangled, and her clothes were worn thin, patches of dirt clinging to the fabric. She held something tightly in her small hands, a delicate gold ring, engraved with a tiny heart. It was the only thing left of her mother. Her stomach growled, echoing the hollow emptiness she felt in her chest. Her younger brother and sister were back at the edge of the village, huddled under a threadbare blanket, waiting. They hadn't eaten all day. She had to get money, any money to buy food. With a shaky breath, she approached the nearest travelers on the road. "Please, just a little for bread," she whispered, holding out the ring as proof she had nothing else. Most ignored her. Some shook their heads. Some murmured something about thieves. One man, however, stopped a few steps away, tipping his hat and eyeing her curiously. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a worn but fine coat that suggested both wealth and work. A cowboy. A man who seemed older than he was, with eyes that had seen pain and hardship, yet carried a gentle warmth. "Little lady," he said softly, his voice carrying over the wind, "what's that you're holding?" "It's my mother's ring," she said, tears brimming in her eyes. "She gave it to me before she passed away. I'm just trying to get something to eat for my siblings." The cowboy stepped closer, taking in the trembling girl, her tattered shoes, and the desperation in her gaze. His heart clenched. "You can't be out here alone," he said, kneeling slightly to meet her eyes. "How old are you?" "10," she whispered. "And I have 2 little ones at home. I can't let them starve." The cowboy nodded slowly, a sense of responsibility gripping him. "Where do you live?" he asked gently. She pointed toward a row of broken shacks at the far edge of the village. The sight of them sent a pang through him. The children's small faces pressed against the cold window panes, eyes wide and hungry, and he could see their tiny hands clutching each other for warmth. He sighed. "I'm not rich in fancy ways, but I can fix that." The girl's eyes widened. I don't understand." "I mean, let's get you all out of this place," he said, offering his hand. "Come with me." For a moment she hesitated. It wasn't easy to trust anyone after everything they had been through, but the sincerity in his eyes was undeniable, and in the end, hunger and hope outweighed fear. She nodded and took his hand. He led her down the road toward his ranch, a modest but sturdy home that overlooked rolling fields and a sparkling river. The wind carried the scent of fresh hay, and the sound of cows lowing in the distance was calming. "Stay right here," he said, opening the door. Inside, the fire burned bright in the hearth, casting warmth across the wooden floors. He handed her a bowl of soup and a thick blanket. She ate hungrily, the tears sliding down her cheeks as if they carried away years of despair. "Tomorrow we'll talk about where you and your siblings are going to live," the cowboy said. "Tonight, eat, sleep. You're safe now." When the girl finally finished, she whispered, "Thank you, sir. I don't even know your name." "Call me James," he said, "James Walker." The next morning he rode with her back to the village, the sun rising behind them, golden and promising. At the edge of the shacks, he saw the little brother and sister huddled under the blanket. They froze when they saw him approaching, their eyes wary, but hope flickered when they noticed the girl standing beside him, safe and smiling. "Come on," he said gently, "we're going somewhere better." He bought the entire property surrounding the village homes, a small cabin for each child, sturdy walls, proper beds, and even a little garden where they could grow food. The children were ecstatic, running from room to room, laughing and shouting, their cries of joy mingling with the birdsong. The girl, clutching her mother's ring, couldn't believe it. This is real," she whispered to James. He smiled. "Yes, real, and it's yours now." But it wasn't just the cabins that changed their lives. James became more than a benefactor. He became family. He taught them to ride horses, helped with schoolwork, and even stayed up late some nights telling them stories about the Old West, about courage, about hope. Slowly, the scars of hunger and neglect began to fade, replaced with laughter and love. One evening, as they sat around the fire, the little girl, now no longer trembling, now smiling brightly, looked at James. "I used to think no one cared," she said softly. "But you saved us. You gave us a home. You gave us family." James felt a lump in his throat. "You saved me too," he said quietly. "You reminded me why people matter, why we don't give up on each other, why hope is worth everything." The girl pressed the ring to her chest, whispering, "I'll never forget what you did." Years later, the cabin still stood. The children had grown, strong, confident, and full of laughter. And the girl, who once sold her mother's ring for a slice of bread, now stood tall, helping James care for a new generation of children who needed love, guidance, and protection. The memory of that rainy night, the cold, the fear, the desperation, was still in their minds, but it no longer defined them. Instead, it was a story of survival, hope, and the unexpected kindness of a man who gave them everything when they had nothing. And every time she looked at the ring, polished and shining, she remembered the moment James Walker became more than a stranger. He became the man who changed their lives forever. In the quiet of the cabin, as the wind whispered through the trees and the fire crackled in the hearth, the little girl, now a young woman, smiled. For the first time in her life, she truly felt safe, truly loved, and truly home. And it all began with a ring, a rainy night, and the heart of a cowboy who believed that no child should ever face the world alone.